The college football playoff is set. The largest contract in the history of sports is signed. And one of the most decorated coaches in the history of the NFL is headed to college. I'm Jake Ariani. This is John Howard, Karthik Venkatraman. We are on the final quarter on CBS 8+. All those topics and more get started right now.
The final quarter begins right now.
Well, what a week of sports we have had, folks. I mean, massive contracts, shifts all around. But first, say hi to the people, you two.
Hello.
Hello. Can't wait to get this going.
How about the contract our guy Juan Soto has signed, rewriting the history of sports contracts? He is headed to the Mets 15 years. When you guys first saw this on paper or across your phone or whatever it was, like me, did your jaw drop?
Well, I thought it was actually stupid. And the reason I think it's stupid is because you look at him getting more money than Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani is not a once-in-a-lifetime talent. He's a once-in-a-century talent. And within 1 year, that deal for Shohei is outdone by Juan Soto, who played for the Padres, what, a year and a half? And in that year that he played, the Padres failed to make the postseason. So I see him as an 0-for-1 athlete. I know he's very talented, but I think it's rich men who have just money to spend, you know, getting out of control.
I mean, they did go to an NLCS with Juan Soto, and he's taken two teams to a World Series, won one of them. I do understand what you're saying about the money being out of control, but if you have the money, why not if you're the Mets, right?
I think also it's kind of the nature of sports right now, right? Just because you are the best player in the league doesn't mean you're getting paid as such. Patrick Mahomes is not the highest paid player in the NFL, and he is undoubtedly the best player in the NFL, all things considered. So when I looked at that, I wasn't too surprised. Obviously, the number is huge. Year over year, he's getting paid less than Shohei just because that contract ends up being more by 5 years. I think it's, you know, obviously an all-out investment by the Mets. They're like, we need to win now. Hopefully for them, they're looking to get Pete Alonso back, maybe get a guy like Jock Peterson into play, and then they can have like a loaded batting lineup. I think that would be the play for them, and they're trying to invest everything in right now. Look, in the press conference, you know, that was, you know, just broadcast today as Juan Soto signed his contract. Cohen said, we're trying to make a play to put everything that we have, all chips on the table, and try and win, and that's what they're trying to do. So
let's show some of these details here up on this graphic that we have of Juan Soto's deal headed to New York. Again, 15 years, $765 million up front, but this could get over $800 million depending on what happens. He does have an opt-out after 5 years, you two. No deferred money, John, going back to your Shohei Ohtani deal. Look, Shohei Ohtani, as you mentioned, one of the greatest athletes on this planet, can play you know, both ways. Juan Soto can barely play left field, but he is one of the generational hitters of the time, and a $75 million bonus ain't bad either.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He's a liability in the field.
A legit liability.
For Pete's sake. I mean, we have enough highlights to see that. But again, it's just a lot of money spent on a guy he's an amazing offensive player. I get it. But, you know, if I'm an owner, I'm not spending that much on him.
Good thing it ain't your money, John Howard. Speaking of being an owner, we're going to play a little owner situation here when we talk about the San Diego Padres, because it is coming to fruition that the Padres may have to make a move to field a full team this year. And a couple names that have popped up are Michael King and Dylan Cease, who are both in walk years for the San Diego Padres. You two, should they trade one of them? Do you think there's any way on the planet they hang on to both of these guys with huge holes in this team with left field and catcher? Do they have to make a move?
Karthik, I'll defer to you.
yeah, defer money to me.
Please defer that money to
Sorry,
Karthik.
I don't go that far.
I think, you know, it's kind of tricky, right? Like, the Padres also need depth at pitching, and starting pitchers are a big thing that they're going to need. And, you know, Dylan Cease has more than proven himself through the second no-hitter in franchise history last season for the Padres. Look, he's a fantastic pitcher, one of those guys you put at the front of the rotation. Obviously, you can say the same about Michael King. I think Dylan Cease is the more likely to get traded maybe than Michael King is. But even then, I'm not 1,000% sure. You get rid of him, and after you don't have Joe Musgrove this upcoming season, you're really damaging, you know, what your starting front of your pitching rotation looks like. And look, at the end of the day, when we get to the postseason, and we all expect the Padres to be a postseason team, who gets the job done? Having a depth and a bevy of pitchers. Obviously, you want to fill the complete roster with your catcher, your left fielder, All that needs to get sorted out. But at the same time, those pitchers are what make a difference in postseason play.
But Dylan
Cease is.
He looked horrible in the
Sure,
postseason. I'm going to be brutally honest. He did not look good.
He did.
For the
I
Padres.
wanted to give him another go around. He was fantastic in the season, and I think at the end of the day, when it comes to postseason play, nothing matters more than how good your pitchers are. And, you know, just between the three that they have right now, Michael King, Dylan Cease, Yu Darvish, if they get a guy like Roki Sasaki, that obviously helps them out. I don't know if they will get him, but I think you got to maybe keep him, maybe look further down the line, maybe see if there's other pieces you could trade to get those pieces you need for the rest of your roster.
But go ahead. Well, do you fix more problems, John, do you fix a lot of the issues by moving a Cease or a King? Again, likely Cease, and get maybe some major league ready pieces back or some great prospects? Or do you create more problems?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think Sasaki is the X factor. You get him,
100%.
And I think you absolutely deal Michael King and get some return for him.
Oh, Michael King. You want to move Michael.
And I think, you know, King should have been signed to a longer-term deal a year ago at this time. Didn't happen, so now, a year from now, he's going to be, you know, surfing the free agent market. And I think you trade for him while you can get something for him. And I don't want to waste too much time talking about this because the Padres don't have a game for another, 4 or 5 months? Once they start
And
playing.
also, Sasaki's not getting signed for like another month from now, too.
Exactly. So I'd say once these guys are either traded or not, yeah, let's talk how much the trade's going to impact the play and who did they get for him, who did they not get for him. That's what I'm looking forward to, is less speculation and more concrete talk.
John's like, things should have gotten done at the winter meetings. End of discussion.
Yeah, exactly.
I think hindsight's 20/20 with Michael King, right? Yeah, you should have re-signed him now that he's done what he's done. But coming into this year, getting Michael King, he hadn't even thrown all these innings. We didn't really know what he was going to be. Obviously, he was fantastic for the San Diego Padres. I think they hang on to King. They move Dylan Cease. But we are done speculating because John Howard does not want to speculate anymore. We are moving on. I think we live in a city where you can't have enough Padre talk. But all right, we'll move on to something that is concrete. That would be the college football playoff. It is set. There's no getting around this, John. We can speculate about who might win these games. And in fact, we have the bracket, if we can pull that up in the back there. This is what the college football playoff now officially looks like. Any surprises to you two, Alabama not being in there or something like that?
Well, I'm kind of glad Alabama's not in it. I'm tired of Alabama. What I love seeing here are 3 teams from the west side of the United States, you know, with the byes. We got Oregon, Boise State, and Arizona State, for Pete's sake. You know, and I hate the West Coast guys. We like to whine about East Coast bias.
But it's a real thing. Let's be honest. It's a real thing.
SEC football's just different, boys.
Holy mackerel. I mean, you look at how the final poll came out and how they placed these teams. 3 of the 4 teams with byes are from the West Coast, baby. I'm loving that.
I don't really have a problem that Alabama got left out, honestly, because, you know, had they had one less loss, and then we're talking about them versus SMU with SMU not having a ranked win, maybe you can open up the discussion. But
don't lose to Vanderbilt. How about that?
Well,
how's that at the end of the argument?
Oklahoma was maybe arguably worse.
Yeah.
A team that they were projected to win by so much. Vanderbilt, you know, that wasn't great, but Vanderbilt was playing pretty good football at the time, gave Texas some trouble as well. Oklahoma was the one. They're just not a good football team, man. And Alabama losing that game in the way that they did, the pick six, the punctuation, they look pathetic in that football game. For all the ranked wins that they had this year, great. At their peak, they look pretty darn good, even beating the number 2 team in the country in Georgia. But then at their worst, they look bad. And for me, the eye test matters, right? The wins you pick up are good. The eye test also matters. Alabama just did not pass the eye test consistently enough for me to say they should get in the college football playoff.
The game I think I'm most looking forward to in the college football playoff, Indiana at Notre Dame. That in-state rival.
That's
Give
big
me
brother,
the
little
Hoosiers.
brother right there.
Give me the Hoosiers. I want them to win that game so bad. Now, there's a bunch of Golden Domer out there, alums, that are going to be very mad at me for saying that. But come on, Indiana's a football school.
Well, what I love about this is now that we've expanded it to 12 teams, there's still complaint and controversy about the one team left out. You know, no matter what, back when it was just the voters voting for the national champion, we said, gotta have a playoff, gotta have a playoff. And when there were only 4 teams, everyone's griping about team number 5 and 6 to get left out. Now we're griping about team number 13 being left out.
I think it's also a little bit silly, too. Like, everyone's talking about Penn State and how they have the easiest path as the 6th seed in the college football playoff because they have SMU and Boise State. Sure, you can argue that, I suppose. But at the end of the day, these teams are seeded simply because of the way they played. Obviously, the first-round bye and how that works out with the conference champions had to play a little bit into it. But let's be honest, right? Like, everyone's talking about how Oregon is going to have this completely way more difficult path, but it's all really about the names that they would be playing, right? Like Ohio State, Tennessee, like formidable college brands within college football playoffs. But this was the whole point. This is what we wanted, right? We expanded the playoffs for more parity for those other teams to get in and show what they can do. I think just because Penn State's not playing teams that we really have heard of in the college football past or postseason relevancy, and an SMU since, you know, the Pony Express, and then on top of that, Boise State has had great postseason success. We go back to that Fiesta Bowl in which they played Oklahoma. They've been there, but not in the college football playoff format. Don't count out teams by their name. Count out by the football they're playing. Not to say that Penn State maybe doesn't have an easier path, but Ohio State's a team that lost to a Michigan team that they had no business losing to, and Tennessee lost to an Arkansas team that they had no business losing to. So for them, everyone to be saying that Oregon has a tougher path, I mean, Tennessee and Ohio State still have stuff to prove, and we'll see what they're able to get done.
Preach it, brother Karthik.
I think Georgia's in big trouble if Carson Beck is going to be out, and I hope Penn State does not just dog walk SMU. We'll see what happens. Now, a guy hoping his team is in the college football playoff next year, did you ever think these words would come out of my mouth?
No.
Is Bill Belichick, who is now the head coach of the UNC Tar Heels. It feels weird to say, Bill Belichick, one of, if not the most decorated coach in NFL history. Can he possibly make it work in college?
I think this kind of goes to show how far he's fallen from the NFL ranks, that he didn't even wait for the NFL. He's not even getting hired by a team, and the man's won 6 Super Bowls as a head coach.
The guy could be in the NFL if he wanted to. There's no
is that
doubt
why
about
he
that.
didn't get hired in the last coaching cycle?
The dude could be in the NFL. I think it works well in college. I think it does.
Yeah, because he went down to the college ranks and didn't even get a top-tier team in the college ranks, maybe the 3rd or 4th best option in the ACC.
Maybe that's what the guy wanted.
Sure, I'm not saying.
He's got ties to UNC.
I agree. And North Carolina could either going to look like a fool here or they're going to look like geniuses. We're going to figure out which one it is. I'm not saying it's going to be either way. I think Bill Belichick's obviously a great coach. I think he's also changed a lot in the time he's
100%.
come from the NFL to being a different person, maybe more open to the fact of NIL, recruiting, everything that goes into college football. I'm not saying this is a failure. I'm just saying that the man didn't get hired at the NFL ranks, and then he had another go-around maybe coming this upcoming season with coaches inevitably going to be fired, and some that already have. And he didn't even wait out to see what it was, which makes me think...
Because he wanted to do this.
Do it why, man?
What do you mean why? Why not want to challenge yourself? Why not want
He's
to try
72! His career's over!
His career is not over. Maybe he's got some passion. The dude loves ball. John Howard, teach Karthik something about Bill Belichick, please.
Well,
My goodness.
Come on, he's legacy. His dad coached at UNC like 60 years ago. Here's my thought. The only way he succeeds at UNC is if he hires the right people around him. What does he know about NIL? What does he know about the transfer portal? What does he know about recruiting athletes? And I got to believe when he went in for that interview at UNC, Coach Bill, what do you know about NIL? What I know is this is going to be a NFL pipeline. It's going to be a pipeline to the NFL. What do you know about the transfer portal? Pipeline. What do you know about collegiate offenses? This is going to be a pipeline to the NFL. That's all he's going to say is being a pipeline to the NFL. And if he doesn't have guys around him that are very plugged in to NIL, the transfer portal, and recruiting athletes, he's going to succeed on the X's and O's on the field. I just don't know if he can succeed in the college game and all that it entails.
I would completely disagree real quick, Karthik, because I think he knows everything about those things because the college game is the pros now. NIL, it's also called contracts and salaries, right? I mean, he knows all of these things. Recruiting, that's what we call free agency in the National Football League. The college game is closer to the NFL than it has ever been, and that is why this could work. Go ahead, Karthik.
I think there's a lot of parallels now that NIL and recruiting has shaped up. But I will say this. His pitch over and over and over again, everything he said, and even before he even got hired at UNC, when he was like, if I'm going to join the college ranks, was I'm going to be a pipeline to the NFL. There are several college football programs already established that are pipelines to the NFL.
Not led by Bill
Go look at the
Belichick.
Southeastern Conference. Go look at schools like Oregon. There are plenty already. He's not reinventing the wheel just because he comes and joins the college ranks.
No, because he invented the wheel.
And why? He has never been in college football. The man did not create the wheel of the pipeline to the NFL. He was the NFL for many years. He was very successful. No one's taking anything away from Bill Belichick. But if his pitch is to recruits is I can be the pipeline for you to the NFL, cool. There's already so many programs that do that. Look at the University of Georgia.
They're not run by Bill Belichick, though, who knows how to run an NFL dynasty. The dude can give these kids what they want, which is their best
with Tom Brady as his quarterback.
Their best opportunity to get to the National Football League. I'm very excited to see how the challenge works for him. Honestly, I'm looking
He
forward
needs
to seeing it.
Drake May to come back to UNC from the Patriots. That's what he needs.
Well, and the one other thing, UNC, the last time they won a conference championship, 40 years
The
ago.
80s, right?
His work is cut out for him, no doubt.
His work is cut out for him. Now, last week on the final quarter on CBS 8 Plus, we predicted the Chargers and Chiefs game.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of want to take a look back
I
because
see
there's
you
a
guys.
lot of screaming going on here. There's a lot of yelling. But let's see last week who kind of called this and who didn't. We got some sound. Haven't won a big game all year.
Yeah, they don't have a quality win on there.
this Sunday will be the time.
The way I would sum it up, the Chargers defense is good, and I think
Yes.
the Chargers defense
Yes.
will keep it close, which is how the Chiefs have played games. But I think Patrick Mahomes is the X factor, and they're playing at home, like Karthik said, on a Sunday night. It's probably going to be pretty cold. I picked the Chiefs in this game.
I think the Chargers had plenty of opportunities to win that game in week 4, I think it was. I think they have a chance. I mean, they missed
Yeah.
a field goal
17-10
on a,
week 4.
on a 4th and goal. They weren't able to cash in inside the 5. Not great field position for much of the first half, and they got off to a great start 10-0. I mean, the Chiefs have been letting up a lot of sacks lately, too. If Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack can get in there, really disrupt the game, maybe cause a couple of turnovers like they did in that first game, I think the Chargers have a good chance.
I don't.
The Chiefs have not been the Chiefs of yesteryear. I mean, your back-to-back Super Bowl
Every
winning
year we
champions.
say this.
You say it, but look at them, man.
Every year.
They're skating by field goals. They're skating by
But they're winning.
points. They're skating by lucky field goals by the Raiders. No, are they winning or are other teams losing the game? That's what we need if I can ask ourselves in this question, man. All right, I will start by saying this. The Chiefs did skate by another field goal and doinked off the upright and went in. It went in. I'll
But
give
they
you that.
won.
I will give you this. They won the football game. But hey, man, the Chargers didn't have Ladd McConkey. They didn't have J.K. Dobbins. I mean,
Let's let the guy that perfectly predicted the game, John Howard, talk here. I think he should have the floor.
I was going to say, just like Jake and I predicted, Karthik, that's exactly what was going to. And I will say, a week ago or 2 weeks ago on our post-game show, I said the Chargers were going to beat the Chiefs. I felt the Chiefs were just squeaking by, but then I realized the Chargers don't have receivers. Herbert, the game manager, and the Chargers defense is good, but not as good as Mahomes, and Mahomes did it again.
I would like to have seen, though, if they had Ladd McConkey more in the first half to get themselves some more offensive rhythm, even one field goal would have been the difference in the game. I'm just, not to say that the Chiefs couldn't have scored a touchdown on that final drive, because they very well could have, the way that they were just pushing the ball down the Chargers' throat the whole entire drive. But
Hey.
I stuck with my guts. I tried to give the Chargers fans some hope, maybe, and it just didn't pan out for the boys, man.
If Iffin's butts were candies and nuts,
Let's quickly run. One game I want to touch on before we move off the NFL Week 15. Bills and Lions, possible Super Bowl preview. Let's make it quick. Who you guys got?
I got the Lions. I think it's going to be a close game. Bills let up too many points last week, but the Lions have looked beatable. I think it'll be a close one.
I think the Lions are just too complete a team, and I love Gambling Dan going for it on 4th down. Lions are going to win this.
I love, if people have watched me at all, they know I love the Detroit Lions. I think they slip up here. I
Really?
think Buffalo
They
wins
could.
this game in Detroit. I think Josh Allen, all the MVP talk has been flying around.
6
Other
touchdowns
teams,
last week.
I think Josh Allen could be your MVP. This, I think, is Buffalo's year. We'll see what happens. They may lose because of a flag against Kansas City at Arrowhead. That's probably the one thing that happens.
I can't wait until next week on the podcast here when we rerun this tape. Jake saying the Bills win.
Hey, speaking of football, we need to touch on this real quick before we get out of here. Danny O'Neil has reportedly told coaches at San Diego State that he intends to enter the transfer portal. Now, that doesn't mean that he's for sure leaving San Diego State, but the true freshman quarterback who led the team to a 3-9 record is going to possibly be gone next year. Your guys' thoughts on missing Danny O'Neil, really?
My initial thought is, and I've shared this with some buddies and some alums, Danny O'Neil is to be respected for coming in as a true freshman, leading the team, doing the best he can. However, my expectations for the program are higher than what Danny O'Neil provided. Yes, he's going to be better next year as a sophomore and as a junior, but in the day and age of the transfer portal, is this the best we have? And if we've got a true freshman out there, then it better be a true freshman that is really showing us something special. And Danny O'Neil was a game manager. Was he showing us something special like Dan Marino or a John Elway or a Peyton Manning?
Some comparisons, baby.
John Howard has the most highest expectations.
Yeah, I didn't realize you wanted Dan Marino expectations.
Come on, man. We got to get a quality athlete out there in every position. And, you know, Danny, what I saw last year was he looked like he'd be a really great, serviceable backup. But I want a guy that's going to lead us to 9-3. Not 3-9.
I think Danny O'Neil, you know, he may come back, he may not come back. He made some nice throws last season. I saw the development at sometimes he kind of plateaued and started throwing more interceptions as the year went on. You know, it's one of those things that I think it's kind of shocking. If you're an Aztecs fan, you probably didn't expect this to happen. Talked to Sean Lewis the other day, and, you know, it kind of seemed like he was anticipating that Danny O'Neil was going to come back. Not really sure what's happening and what will end up happening. We did see Jordan Napier, an Aztecs receiver, come back after entering the transfer portal. Maybe it happens. Usually doesn't happen. I don't know. I was a little shocked. I'll be honest with you. I was a little shocked.
Yeah, and look, I don't want to talk poor. This is a teenager. I never want to say anything bad. You know, kid's getting his career started and all that. I don't think the Aztecs are taking a massive hit here. I think they'll be able to figure it out. There's a lot of problems that they need to work on moving forward, and a quarterback will likely be one now. We'll see what happens with Danny O'Neil. Final couple minutes here on the final quarter on CBS 8+. Last thing I want to touch on, speaking of the Aztecs, another win on Wednesday night against Cal Baptist. One that might have scared a couple of alums, John Howard.
Well, when you're a 14.5-point favorite and you build a 19-point lead and it drains down to 4 with 2 minutes to play, you're not supposed to let that happen. Thankfully, the guys, Nick Boyd and Miles Bird, had a couple of clutch buckets at the end. They also had misses, but they did what they had to do to get the win.
I'm a little worried about the Aztecs over the last couple of games. They had big leads against USD as well, San Diego in that game. And, you know, the Toreros came back a couple of times on them. Securing those big leads when you build them is huge, especially when we get to the postseason. March Madness, that's what it's all about, right? Teams that had no business coming back and winning. That's something the Aztecs have to shore up. I think as the season goes on, they build more chemistry. They'll continue to close out, but they've gone on some stretches where they haven't looked so good.
And Cal Baptist is a good basketball team. Go look at their schedule. Like they played good games this year, but can somebody teach the Aztecs how to get an offensive rebound?
No kidding.
Please, if I have to watch them get absolutely worked on the glass one more time, I'm going to pull out some hair. But hey, a win is a win is a win, as the old cliche goes. So Aztecs improved to 7-2 with the victory over Cal Baptist. And we will be back next week. Be sure to join us on the final quarter on CBS 8+. It is a chance for us to really dig into some topics, to have Karthik yell at me yell at John, and
me to
you
yell at
guys
everybody,
join
really.
the conversation as well. Fellas, any last thoughts before we let the people go?
I might start yelling at myself next week. We'll see.
All I have to say is, get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn. If the Aztecs don't learn to rebound on offense, John's going to be in there yelling at him. That's what I'm saying. Send it to him. Have a great week. We'll see you back here next week on the final quarter on CBS 8+.